Well, hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Christmas Eve for those of you who celebrate it, and for those of you who don't, happy holidays. I'm here on for my weekly Yummy webinar. It's a pleasure to be with you today. It's been a very active few days, as it is for everyone around the world who celebrates this holiday, or even just not just this holiday, but all of the holidays that occur around this time of year. Crazy! And so much money that's being spent, and so much money that people maybe don't necessarily have. But you know what? You would expect there to be more good cheer. But I went to the grocery store today, and there were so many people who were just like moping around, and they're just like long faces and not really very happy faces. What is up with that? It's supposed to be a season of good cheer. We get so caught up in the consumerism, the whole idea of, oh, I've got to spend this money, I've got to get gifts, I've got to show people that I love them through gifts, which is kind of distorted and crazy. In the meantime, I hope that you're all living this holiday with the true joy that it is. You know, being able to afford to buy gifts for your family, being grateful. Once again, let's start with being grateful, gratitude. I'm truly grateful for all of the gifts that I was able to buy this year for my loved ones and friends and family. I am grateful for the food that I'm making, that I put so much love into, to be able to share with my family and friends. I am grateful for Facebook and its wonderful ability to socialize and to connect with people all around the world. I am truly grateful for what was in my car that runs beautifully, that is so beautiful. I had a great Groupon the other day, and I got a detail, like $100 detail for like 40 bucks. I love great deals. What can I say? I'm sure that you do too. And last but not least, I'm grateful for my health, that I'm strong and healthy, and that I can be here with you today. I'm going to cut it a little short today. Unfortunately, we started a little late because of my computer was being capricious. And I love her. I love you, computer. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful for my computer that connects me with the world and with my friends and the people who I haven't like talked to for years. And all of a sudden they pop up on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere. It really is quite remarkable. So I'm going to read to you from this, the third chapter of Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. This is an Access Consciousness book. Access Consciousness, which is an amazing philosophy of life. It is truly being more aware, learning to care and love yourself more, and recognize the greatness of you. This is a remarkably powerful book. If you've seen any of my webinars prior to today, check them if you haven't seen them, because we'll cover the first two chapters, and they're really just really powerful. So if you're looking to change your money situation, your financial situation, please check it out. You can find it. You can go to my pointofme.com blog page, and there will be a page under more. You'll see Access Shopping. And under there, if you click that, it'll take you directly to Access Consciousness. And you can buy this book and read along with me. And even if you don't read along with me, buy it for yourself. It will change your life. Check out the other books too. They're amazing. Okay, so let's get started right away. I want to get to it because I've got some more cooking to do. Yay! So, do you worry about money? You worry about money? I'm sure you don't. I don't worry. Or did you ever think that that if you didn't worry, that you've misidentified and misapplied worry as a way of showing that you care? And some people take that to the nth degree. So everything that is, and everywhere that you have made associated worry with love and love with worry, that if you didn't worry, then you wouldn't create the love. And that goes for money as well. Everything that is times a godzillion. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it, please? I'm sure you said yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Good, let's get rid of that. Worry is really just a waste of time. And we learn worry from our parents, from our grandparents, or whoever is close to us. And it really doesn't do much other than raise your blood pressure and make you not feel good. And why would you do that to yourself? You know, take care of yourself, love yourself. That's a good start. Okay, here we go. Do you worry about money? Do you ever worry about not having enough money? When was the last time you worried about it? Get the feeling of that. You know, it's not pretty. Do you have it? Okay, make that feeling infinite. Okay, so how do you do that? Make it as big as the universe. Make that feeling bigger than the universe. Not eternal, but infinite. You can imagine sticking the needle of a giant air pump into the middle of your worry and then blowing it up so it's bigger than the universe. But making something bigger than the universe is not really something you have to think about or do. It's just an awareness. And it usually happens as soon as you've asked to do it. Because when you ask a question, the energy of that question just bubbles. And if you just take a moment to be aware of what that is, you'll get a feeling of what happens when you ask a question in general. So you want to ask this, okay, you want to just expand. What if you expanded that worry, just expanded, bigger than this room, bigger than the house you're in, bigger than the building you're in, bigger than the city you're in, bigger than the state you're in, bigger than the region you're in, and then go further and further and further and just make it just as huge and go bigger than the planet, bigger, I mean, just beyond the moon, imagine that. And let's see what happens. Okay, so it's just an awareness, all right? So what happens to your money worry when you make it infinite? Does it get fuller and more substantial? Does it have a greater sense of reality? Or does it fade away and disappear? If it goes away, which is what we suspect it will do, then it's a lie. The worry might be something you think is true, but is it really? It really isn't. But you've bought something that's not true. Now think about somebody you care about. Make that feeling infinite, bigger than the universe. Does it become more substantial or less substantial? More substantial? Right. Isn't that interesting? When you think about how much you care for someone and you make it infinite, bigger than the universe, you see it's even bigger than you're willing to admit to yourself. If you were willing to admit how much you care about someone else, and you're willing to care that much about yourself, how much do you think you would be willing to receive? Yes, we've come to the magical word, receiving. How much are you willing to receive? I stopped here for a second because I was thinking about people who hoard. People who hoard, you go into their homes and it's like filled with so much stuff you can't even move around. What is that feeling of not having enough, or it's not going to be enough? A lot of people who are raised during the Depression have a tendency to want to hold on to their things. I have to hold on to it. And if you were raised by someone who was lived during the Depression, there is a tendency to want to hold on to it. I've got to hold on to it. I've got to have more of it. And they just hoard, or they'll hoard their money and they never spend it. They never get it to flow. It makes me think of the movie Hello, Dolly. And he says, money is like manure. You've got to spread it around. You've got to let it move, let it grow, spread it around. So if you're hoarding, you might want to think twice about that, because basically what you're telling the universe is that you have to hold on to it. It's not necessarily, energy is not meant to be held. And in fact, it won't be held. It is constantly transforming and changing. And it's supposed to do that. That is the beauty of life. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so everywhere that you're hoarding, in any area of your life, whether it's hoarding by holding onto your partner, or hoarding by holding onto your business and not delegating tasks to people, hoarding, everywhere that you're hoarding and everywhere that you're making yourself the hoarder of all eternity, would you just join and create that, please? Thank you. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. All right. So when you take the caring that you have and you make it infinite, it becomes fuller and more present. It occupies more space than the upset did. You realize that you care more than you acknowledge. You may say, yeah, I care. But when you fill it out and make it substantial, you can see how very much you care. It's almost as if we're afraid to care that much. Isn't that interesting? Think about having plenty of money. All right, really think about it, because everybody has like a glass ceiling to what they think a lot of money is and what they'll allow themselves to receive. So you like put this cap on it. It's like a glass ceiling. You can't see it, but it's there. Okay. And as soon as you start making a lot of money, let's say, you'll stop making the amount that you think is a lot is where you'll stop. You won't make more than that because you've put this golden ceiling of that, I'm sorry, this glass ceiling above your head. Golden ceiling, what's on my mind? Gold. And you won't allow yourself to go further than that. Okay, so you really have to think about what it is. What is that for you? I think about having plenty of money, get the feeling of having plenty of money, make it infinite, bigger than the universe. Does it get more substantial or less? More substantial. And when you think about not having money, when you say, oh no, I'm broke, I can't do this. If you make those feelings or worries infinite, bigger than the universe, what happens to them? They go away. Now, this is an exercise you have to practice, because it's like for a lot of people, they're like, Karen, what are you talking? I know you're saying to me, what is that? That's abstract. That's far too abstract. I don't know how to do that. Well, just practice. It's like when you close your eyes and you try to find where you end, where you finish, that you can't. It doesn't exist, because you just can't, because your space when you close your eyes. You're not being bombarded by your senses, not by your eyes at any rate, and you feel out and you can't expand. So you don't feel where you end. It's impossible. So as soon as you start to expand out, you have to perceive it yourself. Just practice that. Expand out beyond the room. Expand. That's just like I walked you through earlier. Beyond this space, beyond the space, just outside of this space, the house, the building, the city, the state, the region, the country, the continent, whatever works for you. And just imagine this yourself filling that space. And if you can do that with an emotion, you can do that with having money or caring for someone, you'll start to get more awareness around this. Okay, give it a try. You got to practice. So if you create based on a lie, can you create a truth out of it? Isn't this interesting? We tend to buy into lies like, I don't have any money. And then we try to create our lives based on those lies. If you attempt to create based on a lie, can you create a truth out of it? No way, right? If you lie to yourself or buy into false points of view, you create limitations that do not allow you to expand into what is possible with money. Sometimes Dane tells stories about one side of his family that though they were lucky if they had enough money to put food on the table, his grandparents had grown up during the Depression, and there were times when they didn't have food. Their point of view was they were successful if they had enough money to buy food. Dane bought that point of view as a truth and held on to it until he started Access. He bought the idea that having enough money to have food on the table was a measure of success. I'm sure it's not only him that has that point of view. Once he started Access, he realized, wait a minute, that's not true. Shortly after he got started in Access and was seeing some different possibilities in life, we drove up to San Francisco together to do an Access course. We were going to be there for 3 days, and Dane brought 10 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 3 pounds of trail mix, and 3 boxes of granola bars. Since he didn't have any money, he thought that would be the food he'd eat while he was there. At one point during the drive, I put a piece of big red gum in my mouth, chewed it for about 10 minutes, spat it out, and put another piece in. I chewed that one for 10 minutes, spat it out, and put another one in. I chewed that one for 20 minutes and put a new piece in. Dane wasn't saying anything, but he was freaking out every time I put a new piece of gum into my mouth. Finally, he asked, why do you do that? I said, do what? He said, chew one piece of gum after the other like that. I said, because I only like the taste at the beginning. After that, it's boring. Dane comes from a family where you chewed your gum for a day and a half. He had never considered the possibility you could do anything so extravagant with a $1 pack of gum. He'd never considered a different standard of affluence for himself. It busted his whole paradigm of not having enough. His reaction was, wait a minute, you can do that? Most of us buy into lies and limitations like this as we're growing up. This is what success is, or this is what I can or can't have. In Dane's case, the lie was abundance is being able to feed yourself. That was his family's point of view, and that's the point of view he bought. Is that what abundance is? No, of course not. When he saw that he'd been trying to create his financial life around a lie, new possibilities started to appear. Instead of making yourself nuts about money, which is something that we're all very good at, including me, by the way, instead of worrying about money or living in a state of near poverty, start to realize that your worries, concerns, and beliefs about money are not real. And when you realize they're not real, you won't buy into them and you won't create your life based on what is not real or true. So make it bigger than the universe. Use this exercise to get at the truth of issues. When you make things bigger than the universe, what is true becomes more full and substantial. It feels more real. It takes up more space. And what's a lie dissipates. It goes away. Change what happens with money in your life by using this simple tool and create from what's true for you. So everybody has their own points of view and their own beliefs and their own concerns about money. If you start to look at what there is, then you can start to clear the energy around it. You can ask some questions. You know, it's interesting because I was listening to one of the other classes that Access has. There are many, many classes you can listen to around creating more money in your life. And one of the classes I was listening to was called The Creation of Wealth. And one of the things that that comes up often is that we don't think about creating wealth. We think about having enough money to spend on things that we want to buy, right? And money, because it is a creation, you have to realize that you are the source of that creation. No one else is the source of that. So if you really want to change things, then you really have to change your point of view around money. Okay. So money is kind of funny. It will follow those who are excited about it. That's why I get you guys to do the money dance. Think about doing the money dance every day. Any way that you want to do the money dance. What does it feel like to you when you get that money that you're not expecting to get? And you like, you feel so good, and you like move and you dance and you do your money dance, right? Try it. You know, it can't hurt. And what would it take for your money dance to bring you more money than God? Everything doesn't allow that to show up times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it, please. All right, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. So I say this to you because I know that to start to create a different rapport with money, you have to feed it every day. It's like a plant. It's like you have that seed, and it's a money seed. And I mentioned this in one of my previous webinars. Water it. What do you do to create a greater connection with the money in your life? You know, what have you decided you can't have that if you had it would change your money flows? And everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. That is the clearing statement for those of you who just tuned in. It's like the abracadabra phrase. It's the magic wand phrase. So if you are curious to understand what it's all about, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and it will explain it to you. Once again, these are access techniques. I use them in all areas of my life. They work, and they work very quickly if you're willing to let go of your stuff. If you're willing to let go of the muck. Most people are not looking to create wealth. This is what I was talking about earlier. What most people are looking to do is to satisfy a need that they have right now. Okay, I've got to spend it now. Now, what if you asked everything that you bought? Say, okay, if I buy you, will you make me money? Because it's not necessarily a conscious, logical thing. Everything has energy, has a vibration. And some certain things will create a greater contribution in your life. Like having certain things in your world creates greater wealth in your world. And if you ask the things that you buy, or you surround yourself with things that make you feel wealthy, then you create greater wealth in your world. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I'm sorry I didn't have my guest today. Obviously, it's Christmas Eve, but I did want to get back on, and I did want to, continue to do this. I don't care what holidays are going on. this is a holiday about giving, and it's a holiday about receiving. And it's important to be willing to give as much as to receive as much as you give, because in your willingness to receive, then the universe is more willing to give you what you would like to have, right? But if you don't ask for what you would like, then you're never going to get there. Okay. So start to think about how you can create money, and you can start by doing that by asking, okay, if I buy this, will it create more money in my life? And you ask the object itself. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you do ask the object, it will give you like an awareness, like you'll get a vibration from it. Okay. And I've got a couple of other questions here. So if money weren't the issue, what would you choose? What would you choose as your life if money weren't the issue? Because that is what's going to get you to what you would like to create. If you're holding on to only looking at, I can't do it because I don't have the money, then you'll never create what it is that you'd like to create. You dig? You dig what I'm saying? Okay, wonderful. All right, so I had some other questions here. Okay, so what invention of debt are you using to create the limitations you are choosing? Now, I bring this one up because we have in our country, it's almost as if the credit card commercials are designed to pull you into going into greater debt. And it's just the structure of, it's the new slavery, I call it, the bank slavery. That way you pay that interest and you pay it monthly, and it's religious to the point of becoming religious because you have to pay it, or they're going to do something to you. Luckily, there is no debtor's prison, and all of the lifetimes that you have been in debtor's prison and you're still paying, and everything that is, would you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a godzillion, right or wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys and beyonds, and all of the lifetimes that you have been the banker, and you have imprisoned many, and everywhere that you think that you have to pay a debt for that. Would you destroy and create that, please? Thank you. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys and beyonds. What we judge the most oftentimes will be what we have participated in ourselves. And what's funny about that is when you do recognize where you judge the most, and you start to clear your energy around it by using these wonderful questions and phrases, you will start to feel a lot lighter in your life, and you'll start to receive more in your life because you're letting go of your judgments. Every time that you go into judgment of anything, you create limitations. You're creating basically these invisible walls that prevent you from having more and being more and growing in your life. I mean, that's not rocket science. That's pretty easy to understand. So once again, people, 10% of everything that you make, please put that away. Put it away and don't touch it. And if you do touch it, ask it where it would like to go. And if you do put it away, will it make you money? And whatever it is that you're putting it into, whether you're investing in gold, whether you're investing in the market, if you're doing anything like that, or real estate, make sure you ask the money if that really is going to make you more money. Because if you can generate and create more money, then you create that wealthiness, that feeling of prosperity, that feeling of abundance. 10%. And the wonderful little thing that I do, and I ask everyone to do this, because basically what you're telling the universe is, I have so much money, I can just leave it places for people who don't recognize that they too are naturally abundant. Okay, so $5 a month, take $1, go to your dollar store and hide $1, or go to your local market, or go to your favorite department store, put it in a pocket. I don't know, be inventive. And it's really funny because the first time I did it, I was like a little paranoid. I was like, oh my God, this is weird. I was like, nobody's going to do anything to me. I'm putting money out. I'm not taking anything. I'm not stealing anything. And I had this feeling that I was like doing something wrong. But in actuality, I am generating abundance by leaving money places. And how wonderful is that, you know? And with that, I wish you all an amazing holiday season. I will see you next week. I think it's, yeah, I think it's right. It's the day before the new year. So it is a great time to think about what you would like to create for the new year, all those New Year's resolutions, and the prosperity of the new year, and what you would like to see as your life, and start to really plug into what would you like your life to look like. If money weren't an issue, what would you choose? And one other question, what skills and abilities, what abilities and talents and skills do you have that can make you a lot of money that you haven't valued, that you've considered, oh, well, that's easy. Doesn't everybody do that? No, everybody, all of us have been given skills and abilities and talents that we have that we don't honor or consider valuable. What skills, talents, and abilities do you have that can make you a lot of money? And what's it going to take for the opportunity, what it's going to take for all the possibilities to use those skills, talents, and abilities to show up? Okay, everything that's allowed that to show up times a godzillion, destroyed and created. Great. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyond. This, keep asking that question. It will change your life every day. How does it get any better than this? In the best of times and the worst of times, because it will get better. The universe has big ears, and it listens to what you are thinking and what you're saying. Be aware, people. Be aware. Love you. Karen Jones, pointofview.me.com. Happy holidays!